Hello again.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome to the first ever pre-preview aftermath. In a little bit, we're going to go through and just talk about our reactions and our commentary on what the hell happened last night. We're going to do it in the order of matches that they did yesterday. But first, I want to get through some general thoughts of the night as a whole. For context, this was my third pay-per-view ever.
Yes.
I just recently got into wrestling, so I might not have the best grasp on like what is normal and what is abnormal, but something about last night through and through felt different to me than the other two pay-per-views that I saw.
Right.
It felt underbaked. Like there were matches that definitely stood out as good matches.
Right.
But through and through, like even like the in-between match skits or whatever, it all just felt not well executed.
It was weird. It was a weird night.
Yeah. And it went on a little long. I know if they're 4 hours normally, then I've never noticed because this one is the one that felt long.
Yeah. This one went past midnight.
Yeah.
It felt longer, even though it was around the same time. But you wrote here, and I noticed this too. This is the one that Peacock actually was pretty strong the full way through. So
yeah. So that's one positive of the event overall, is that Peacock did not give out on us.
Yeah.
Not during the pre-show, not in between the pre-show and the start of SummerSlam proper, and not throughout SummerSlam at all. So good for you, finally, Peacock.
I mean, I don't think they could risk trending number one due to shitty service.
Yeah,
again.
It's just like there's no excuse for it when they're so far into it. Like,
right.
You shouldn't have an excuse for that. So I'm very glad that the quality was good, streaming wise, throughout the entire night.
Right.
But yeah, so like I said, with those like weird segments in the middle, so we had two that stood out to me. The first one was Rick Boogs coming out with King Shinsuke Nakamura. And now you know us, and we are never going to complain about seeing Rick Boogs or Nakamura, ever. We love them. King Nakamura. We love them. I loved seeing them there. It kind of made sense that Rick Boogs would come out for the party of the summer and play a little bit.
Right.
If nothing else, just for Pat McAfee, for him to feel happy. But it didn't really serve anything story-wise. Like, they just came out, danced around, and then left. And then the second one was John Morrison and The Miz. In the pre-show, they came out in this big-ass, what did he call it? A multi-million-dollar water transportation vehicle.
Yeah.
It was a water truck that for some reason they were driving. And then I assumed, like, oh, they were going to drive this water truck in to the stadium at some point, and then it never came up again. Like, what was the point of that? And then so they just talk about being moist or whatever.
Yeah,
and then
Xavier Woods comes out with the dripstick 2.0
yeah,
or 2000
2.0 and just fucking drenches them and then leaves. Like, what did that do? And also, that was weird. Like, have we seen Xavier Woods interact with either of them yet recently?
I don't know.
It just didn't, it felt so unnecessary. And like, I understand that to set up other things, you need some time in between. I mean, we know that from theater.
Right.
But it just felt like when you have so much time, when you have months and months and you know like where the story's going and what you need to hit, I just feel like there's no excuse for underbaked things. And that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like shoehorned, and this is a common theme throughout the entire night.
Yeah.
It felt like shoehorned in stuff to be like, oh, people like singing King Nakamura's song, let's put him in here for no reason.
Yeah.
And I even wrote down, I would have preferred just like a straight 3.5 hour back to back fight than have 4 hours and have all this extra shit that didn't add anything or mean anything.
Yeah. I agree. And it was kind of unfortunate that because of those few little things that they wanted to just throw in as interludes, that Big E's match was pushed to the kickoff, which they never mentioned in I mean, not to my not to
I
my
think
knowledge.
they put up an article on the WWE website, but the picture for the article wasn't their match picture. And I think it came out like the night before.
Yeah.
So I had no idea that there was even going to be a match in the kickoff at all, let alone it being Big E and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, and we'll get into more of the theories as to why the night felt so weird. To me, it felt more like a response, but we'll get to that during those moments that I think it comes into play. But yeah, that's it. It was just a weird night.
It felt strange. It felt off. I don't know if you guys mirror our sentiments with that. Please let us know what you thought of the night as a whole, like not even getting into specifics. Did it feel weird to you too, or is it just me being newly into the WWE and John being newly back that makes it like, oh, we just haven't been around recently?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, speaking of the pre-show, the kickoff match between Big E and Baron Corbin, we saw during SmackDown, right?
Yes.
On Friday. Week. Yeah. Fucking bum-ass Baron Corbin stole Big E's briefcase off of a table and went running with it. So we were kind of like, during our pre-show show, if you actually want to watch yesterday's pre-preview, like proper proper pre-preview. That's hard to say.
Proper pre-preview. Yeah.
Proper pre-preview. That video is already up on our YouTube channel if you want to go watch that. Yes, it's down here. But during that, we mentioned like, oh, we have to keep. Sorry, I have fucking cat hair all over my goddamn mouth. We have to keep an eye out for Baron Corbin and or Big E, because either of them at that point could cash in that Money in the Bank contract, because we didn't know who legally like had rights to it at that point.
Right.
So this match kind of clarified that. So Big E ended up, of course, naturally, did anyone suspect otherwise, beat the shit out of Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
And then retained his briefcase. So
yeah.
he was and continues to be
Mr.
Money in the Bank.
And we got a cool little bonus with that. The winner of the TikTok WWE announcer challenge got to do the ring announcement for this particular match. And I think her name is Rain Cruz.
Yeah.
And she was awesome. So
she was awesome. That was
shout outs to Miss Rain.
Yeah, she did very, very well. She had a big booming voice for such a small girl.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought her back every now and again to do some stuff.
Something. Yeah. And it's just cool, like, to have that competition every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because, that's, I don't know, probably means a lot to people to be able to.
Definitely entering the next one if they do it.
Yeah, for sure. So I also noted that in hindsight, while we were kind of anticipating the possibility of one or both of them trying to cash in that contract, I'm very, very glad that they kept it to that one match and then didn't pop up again. Because if Big E had tried to cash in his Money in the Bank contract tonight, I think it would have been way too much. I think it was already too much stuff happening in general for the night. And that would have been just one extra thing that would make it feel like shoehorned in.
Yeah, it would have. A Big E win, or at least cashing in, would have been sloppy. Because the rest of the night was already kind of sloppy.
Yeah, like I don't even know. The few matches that I did like that he could have cashed in on would have been made worse if he had cashed in on them.
Agreed.
It just wasn't the time for that. So I'm glad that they held off and he's keeping that for another time.
Yeah. But as far as the match goes, I like the match.
I like the match.
I mean, as much as we all like to make fun of Baron Corbin, he's pretty good in the ring.
He's a big old fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's massive and he's like stronger than I think.
He was an ex football player. I mean, so yeah, he's always better in the ring than I remember him to be. And I mean, Big E's always super entertaining. So yeah. So as far as the match goes, I think that was a good match for a kickoff. But like I said, I wish they kind of would have put it in as the pay-per-view opener.
If we would have had the Moist TV segment and King Nakamura come out very beginning during the kickoff.
Yeah.
To like excite people, but it doesn't really ultimately matter what happens in those two things anyway. That would have made more sense to me.
Or
And
like
then
even starting off with Rick Boogs introducing King Nakamura to like kick off SummerSlam,
right,
would have worked, but where they put it in was just bizarre. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the kickoff show. Big E is still Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank. Sorry, he's not Money in the Bank. But so yeah, so that is where that is. So the next match after that was
the official
start to SummerSlam was the Raw Tag Team Championship title match. RK Bro, which is Randy Orton and Riddle, versus AJ Styles and his adopted son, Omos. No, that is not canon, but it's canon in my heart. So I always love just watching Riddle fight on his own, but watching him and Randy interact, it's one of my simple pleasures in life.
Right.
And AJ Styles is always like, I'm always astounded by him. He's so like agile for like an older wrestler.
Yeah, he's very, very impressive in the ring.
Yeah. So I think that was a good match, and RK Bro won and are our new Raw Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I thought this was a strong start to the night. The match was a little shorter than I would have liked it to have been, given the fact that it's
a title match,
a tag team match, and also when you have superstars like Randy Orton and AJ Styles, I kind of would have liked to have seen them in the ring a little more.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a very strong start to the night, and this was when I was happy that I predicted correctly. I love seeing the RK Bro dynamic. I don't even know if the folks at WWE knew it would work as well as it, or people would go for it as much as they have been. But it's so much fun, and I love watching them together. So hopefully they stick together as a team for at least a little while. I'd like to see them more.
This win has me thinking that they're going to be together for a few more months at least.
Yeah.
Will AJ and Omos come back to challenge again after this? I don't know. I don't know who else would come back to challenge them if not AJ Styles and Omos.
I mean, there's the New Day. They're on Monday Night Raw.
True.
And they could be vying for another tag team.
That would be a lot of character in one ring. I wouldn't mind seeing either of the New Day.
Yeah.
Against Randy Orton.
Yeah.
The opposite of New Day.
Well, Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston have a little bit of a history anyway.
Oh.
So it'd be interesting to see them go at it again.
And we haven't seen a lot of New Day.
Yeah.
Except for Big E.
Right.
But yeah, that could be interesting. And also at the end of the match, in a post-match interview, Riddle said that he had a surprise for Randy tomorrow during Raw. So I think he's going to get Randy a scooter, an RK Bro scooter. Will Randy ride that scooter? Probably not. But I'm interested to find out if I'm correct.
Ooh, one thing I enjoyed about Riddle's, you actually pointed out during the night, was that Riddle's gear for the night was snakeskin. Well, I mean, it wasn't actual snake, but it was like snakeskin print
pattern. Yeah.
Little homage to Randy.
To his big brother Randy.
Yeah.
So sweet. Love those kids.
Yeah. Can't wait for that merch to drop.
They're gonna have to drop new merch now. Now that they're champions, come on. A little like snake with the hair, but with the belt.
Stop. Forget about it.
Come on.
Forget about it.
WWE, hire me to make your t-shirts.
What's next?
So next is Eva Marie and Doudrop versus Alexa Bliss. So this was one of those matches where we genuinely did not know what the fuck was going to happen. Like, we did not know who was going to win. And it was strange. It's always strange when Alexa Bliss is involved.
Yeah. So
at the beginning of the match, Eva Marie decided to slap up on Lily, that doll.
Yeah.
Bad things happen to people who touch that doll. So, like, I don't know. I wrote, will Eva be smited after smacking that doll around? And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Alexa Bliss ended up winning the match, but the true winner of the day was Doudrop. Who seemed to be finally released from the shackles of Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Not that she was released. She released herself.
Yeah.
Because she came back after the match and was just, like, shitting on Eva Marie.
Yeah.
and then wore her robe and announced her as the loser of the match and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see like what that means going forward. Is Doudrop going to team up with Alexa Bliss? Is Doudrop finally going to be able to wrestle on her own?
It would be interesting to see Doudrop take on more of like that like punk kind of look that, not punk, but you know like that like spooky punk kind of look that Alexa Bliss, and like kind of see if there's like a new character that comes out of that.
Yeah, because especially with a name like Doudrop, which is like so sickly sweet, to have her be like have a little bit of like a weird, creepy edge.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I think it'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind that team up.
And then it would make more sense to have like Alexa Bliss and Doudrop versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax if you want to continue down that route. I think that would be kind of evenly matched.
Or even take a shot at our Natalya and Tamina, the Raw Women's Tag Team champs.
They are for now, but I think they're setting up Shotzi and Nox.
Is that Raw or SmackDown? I can't remember.
Anyway. SmackDown?
I'm not sure.
Raw? SmackDown? I don't know.
Anywho.
I don't know. But I think Shotzi and Nox are going to try to take that.
I think they're Raw. But either way, I'm excited to see what Doudrop does next. This was a match that... There was a few matches in here that I'm like, should this have been at SummerSlam?
Yeah, it seemed... And again, I understand that they can't do title match. Right. We can't be changing and retaining all in one night.
Right.
All at once. But, this is one of those ones where, I don't know. I think a lot of people like Eva Marie because she just came back from a long hiatus and has been around for a while.
Right.
So I think the popularity of them is the reason why they ended up here.
Yeah, but it was a fun match. It was fine.
Yeah. I just don't know what's going to happen with that doll. That doll creeps me out.
Yeah.
The next match was the United States Championship title match between Sheamus and Damien Priest.
Yes.
So the result of this match was Damien Priest becoming the new United States champion.
Called it.
Yeah, Weva or whatever. And I think that was a pretty good match.
I do too.
I was rewatching that match today, and I think Damien Priest really hurt his back.
Yeah, he landed really rough.
Hard. On like right on your lower back. That's a horrible place to get injured.
Yeah.
That's where your power comes from. Well, it shouldn't, but it sometimes does. I don't know. It seemed like he was off the rest of the match. Like a little slower on the get up. Like even when he got up after he landed on his back, he was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to see my first like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But no, he continued on. And I genuinely think he was hurt.
Props to both of them for really powering through that match. And they still put on a good match.
Oh, yeah. They're very evenly matched.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. Sheamus is fucking massive.
Yeah.
But Damien Priest is almost equally as big. So I think they do put on a good show together. And I wrote down my favorite part was when Damien Priest ripped off Sheamus's titanium mask or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And just yelled bitch in his face. And I think he like punched him in the face or something.
Yeah. It
was so good. But yeah, I'm really, really excited that Damien Priest is the United States champion. I'm just excited for him to have a title.
Yeah, me too. I've enjoyed watching him these last few weeks. Mm-hmm. And then like watching the stuff from him from last year with the Bad Bunny. Mm-hmm. Like he's very, very talented, and I'm glad that that kind of patience and persistence paid off. So mi gente.
So I'm excited to see what happens with Damien Priest going forward. Was this the one where, because we were thinking that maybe Big E would come out for this one, because wasn't he a prior United States champion?
I thought he would. I actually thought maybe he would try to cash in while King Nakamura was coming out.
Oh, as the king?
Yeah. No, to get the Intercontinental.
Okay, that was the one that I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because
but
that's one that he
happen.
lost.
What's that?
That was the title that he had lost. He previously held it.
Yeah, to that little guy.
Apollo Crews. That little guy, Apollo Crews. Yeah, I mean, that would have made more sense for why King Nakamura was coming out.
Yeah.
Than just for a fucking party.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was that. And the next was the SmackDown Tag Team Championship title match. Sorry. Between Rey and Dominic Mysterio and Jay and Jimmy Uso. It's the Usos versus the Mysterios, as it always is. However, even rewatching it, I'm like, damn, I really like watching them. All 4 of them are very, very good.
Yeah.
Especially Rey Mysterio. Like, he's such a, he's someone's like, he's a little old man. He's not that old, but he is very little. But just seeing him flying around and shit. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. Rey's the man.
Yeah. So, and then there was a lot of Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah. With the I think it was called the Three Amigos, like suplexes and
the shimmy.
The shimmying. So that's always dope to see that. Yeah. So I remember calling the winner for this, but I don't think the storyline is going to play out the way I thought it was. I don't think they're going to do a Mysterio beef. It didn't feel that way.
No.
I do kind of hope that we start to see some new contenders for the tag teams.
Yeah, it's been a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, as much I agree, this was also a good match for SummerSlam. But, you know, I think we've had the last 3 or at least definitely the last 2 pay-per-views that were
this selling up.
So
yeah,
I kind of would like to see a new team go for it.
I agree. And the Usos won to retain their titles.
Right.
I think I mentioned during the show yesterday that was also my prediction because they hadn't been champions this time around for very long.
Right.
So it would have been a really quick turnaround. But yeah. I agree with you. I don't know if what we're going to see storyline wise moving forward. I think it would make sense. I think it's about time to have new blood in this rivalry.
Right.
But we'll have to see. But after that match, because one of the things that we were worried about, or that you mentioned yesterday, was that it would be a hell of a night if the Usos and Roman Reigns all lost their titles in the same night. But after this match, at that point, the bloodline was still gilded.
Yes. So we'll see how the next few weeks play out with that big reveal at the end there. But next, are you ready to talk about the next thing?
Yes.
Folks, I want to warn y'all, we are probably going to talk at length about this next thing because it was
the most disappointing match of the night, period. But also probably the most disappointing match that I've witnessed in the past 4 months that I've been watching.
Yeah.
However long I've been watching. 3. So this is the SmackDown Women's Championship title match supposed to be between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks.
Before we continue, were you going to pull up the graphics at any point?
I fucking hate
myself.
You
don't have to.
I hate myself. Well, I mean, I have them.
It's up to you.
Well, this is a lie anyway. This is false. This isn't true.
Yeah.
We were bamboozled.
Yeah.
So this was bizarre. Hold on. Sorry. I gotta get comfortable before I fucking yell about this.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing.
My first bullet point here is just, what the fuck? This was the most bizarre thing. Talk about feeling shoehorned and rushed and underbaked.
Yeah.
This felt so bizarre. So starting off normal with Bianca Belair doing her intro and coming into the ring. Mm-hmm. And then we get an announcement from the announcer.
Very quickly saying Sasha Banks isn't going to compete tonight, basically. I can't, they didn't give a reason. They just said Sasha Banks is unable to compete tonight, so in her place.
It's fucking Carmella.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at John as Carmella's coming out, and I'm like, if there was an injury, if there was like something real happening behind the scenes,
we probably would have heard.
We would have known before right now. They're not going to just announce that during the show.
Right.
So I'm thinking this is story driven. So my thought was, as Carmella was coming out, I was like, okay, Carmella's going to come out as like the distraction, kind of like, oh, Sasha Banks isn't here fight this person, but then Sasha Banks is going to come out at the end when Bianca is tired.
Yeah.
And like finish her off to get the title. That's what I assumed. So after Carmella comes out, Bianca was like, okay, Sasha, I'm not going to fight you today, but just know that eventually it's going to be me versus you.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is weird, but sure, I guess I'll watch her. Because keep in mind, the night before, she already beat Carmella. So I was like, okay, this is like a weird way to beat Carmella again. Yeah. What were you going to say?
No. I'm going to wait to say it because it doesn't pertain yet.
Okay. So then some music that I don't recognize starts playing and people fucking flip.
Yeah.
And it was revealed that Becky Lynch was coming back after I think 15 months because she was out for maternity leave. And she returned during this match.
Yeah.
So that also felt weird. It felt weird at that point because Sasha Banks wasn't there.
She also wasn't at Friday night. That's what I was going to say before. She also wasn't at Friday Night SmackDown.
Right. So it almost felt like, did we not want too many like big names all at once in the same place?
Yeah.
Like it was weird. So then Becky Lynch comes out. Her fans are going absolutely insane. I know who she is because of watching old matches, and also because she's like one of the, if not the biggest female wrestler like recently.
Yeah.
So I understand that she's a huge deal. And I think she's a face character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah.
I was getting confused with Disney. They also have different face.
She's a face.
She's a face. So I was like, okay. So she comes out and
she makes quick work of Carmella.
Oh yeah, she beats the shit out of Carmella. Well, Carmella was only there to ever get her ass beat anyway, so that was whatever. And then she was like, what do you say we blow the roof off of this place to Bianca? So I'm like, okay, they're just going to like have a match because like the competitor that she was supposed to compete against isn't there anyway. Is this just like a fun time happy match between friends? Two faces? Mm-hmm. Two faces. So, and then Bianca agrees. Did they ever mention that it was for the title?
Yes. She said when she said let's blow the roof off for the title, blah blah blah.
Okay.
So they do mention that. Bianca agrees, and the match proceeds and ends in about 25 seconds.
3 moves, I believe she did. And Becky Lynch won not only the match, the title.
Yeah.
In 15 to 20 seconds after being gone for 15 months.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It's shitty. It's shitty on every level for everybody.
Yep.
It's not just shitty for people who like Bianca Belair. It's a shitty way to return after so long to just have a 15-second match and that be it.
Yep. And you're champion again.
You're champion again. Congrats. You really earned it. That's shitty. It's shitty for Bianca, who's been like the first like half of the first Black women's like
main event at WrestleMania,
to just have that title be lost so quickly right after someone comes back. The optics are horrible because even if you don't recognize like the characters, anything else, what happened was a white person came in and took that title in 20 seconds from a Black person who has held it successfully for quite some time.
For over 100 days. And that's what I said on Twitter during the event. I was like, regardless of what the actual reasons are, that's what it looks like to fans. It looks like the WWE and the powers that be just couldn't wait to get the title back in the hands of their most popular white female wrestler.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And I saw other people talking about it because you wrote here, Twitter was livid.
Yes.
Even the people who are big Becky Lynch fans were a little bummed that that's how she came back.
Yeah.
And so some people were like, it doesn't just cheapen her title win, or it cheapens Bianca's title reign. It also cheapens the entire division. This is what someone else is saying, but I kind of agree with it.
Yeah.
They're saying that, Bianca has successfully retained her title from Carmella, from Zelina, from Sasha, from
Bayley.
That Bayley beef that lasted for months.
Yeah.
And that only ended because Bayley got injured in real life.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think about the Bayley match, the Bayley and Bianca Belair match at like Hell in a Cell. That was an awesome match. Bianca got put through the fucking ringer. Mm-hmm. She got attacked with ladders and chairs and shit, and she still came out on top.
Yeah. And you're gonna tell me that if those 3 moves, that was it? Oh, she couldn't handle that. And
I think I would have even been okay had Bianca lost after a hell of a match.
Actual match, yeah.
If it was an awesome match, I'd still be okay with it. I'd still be bummed, but I would be bummed,
but I would be like, okay, well, at least it was earned. It felt like, and this happens outside of a scripted show all of the time, where a white person comes and takes something that they frankly do not deserve from a deserving black person. It happens all the time. And
WWE has done it already before. This is their second most recent time doing it, but they fucking did it with Kofi Kingston when Brock Lesnar came back.
And people were drawing that comparison online.
Yeah,
a lot.
It was
just shitty. It's just shitty. And like you said, it would be one thing if it was like, oh, you're just butthurt because you wanted Bianca to win. That's the most small part of it, because I've never been able to see Becky Lynch fight in real time live. By the time that she was on maternity leave, I was just getting into it. I've never seen her before. I hadn't formed an opinion of her yet. And this makes me dislike her.
Yeah.
For something that she didn't technically have anything to do with. And also for it to be a face against a face just didn't make sense. Here's what should have happened in my mind. I was thinking about this all last night. If Sasha Banks had been there, which is still so bizarre to me that she wasn't. If Sasha Banks had been there,
I guess,
and her and Bianca had an actual match, and then after that, Becky Lynch had come in and been like, "Hey, I'm back.
I'm next."
Something like that. And if Bianca said something like, "Oh well, I'm riding this high because I just kicked her ass. I can kick your ass too," and then lost, maybe in more than 20 seconds, that would have been so much more satisfying to me than how it played out. It was just so messily handled. And like we said earlier, it felt shoehorned in. It felt like something that someone wrote in last night.
So I was talking to you about this. I don't think I said this out loud on any social media, but going back to some of the optics of it. So I go back to Bayley versus Bianca. You have a black superstar versus a Latin superstar. And then, she gets hurt. Understandable. You got to put someone else in. So they already took away one of Bianca's pay-per-view matches at Money in the Bank to put on SmackDown, and she went against Carmella, which is fine, whatever. That was kind of like a little... It sucked that she couldn't perform at a pay-per-view, but at least she got to show that she could retain her title.
Exactly.
And then you set up this... Sasha Banks coming back is already a big deal.
Yeah.
And then you set up this whole thing with again, 2 of your most popular history-making black female superstars. And then to quite literally just throw away Sasha's comeback, it's insulting to her, and it's insulting.
It's just one of those rare things where it's literally a no-win situation.
And if they would have at least done what John Cena did last at Money in the Bank, where Becky Lynch comes back and kind of like you said, and was like, all right, this is going to happen. This is going to happen.
That's what I expected to happen when she came out.
And then only to, it felt, and this is what I was saying at the top of the stream, this more than anything else felt very reactionary.
Yeah.
This felt like the WWE, like Vince McMahon was responding to All Elite Wrestling's announcement that CM Punk was joining. because of course the wrestling world fucking blew up because CM Punk returned. This felt like
their answer.
Their response to that. And granted, a lot of people are excited and were excited about Becky Lynch coming back. I'm excited to see what she does in her time there. But you're right, it leaves me with a really nasty taste in my mouth that she came back this way. And again, it's not like she was like, oh, I can only come back if I'm champion. I mean, I would like to think that it wasn't that. Right. But I think, Vince and the other, powers that be know that, okay, she's one of the most popular faces we've had. Let's get the title in her hands and let's keep it moving.
Yeah. And
I think it's insulting to the legacy that, Bianca Belair has been building for herself. And honestly, and we'll talk about this in just a second, it took me at least 2 to 3 matches to get back into it because I was so mad. Like I was trying to I could feel it in my body. My body was tensing up. I was very upset. The
tone shift, not only just in our apartment, which is the two of us, and the cats. The cats were pissed.
Livid.
The tone shift was tangible. The audience was quieter. The commentators were
not as excited.
Fun. It's just the air was sucked out of the room.
And even the matches. Even the matches after that. The next couple matches were the Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal, and then the triple threat for the Raw women's side. Even those matches, I could kind of see it in the superstars, in the wrestlers. That it was
because even if you're not part of it, you read what people are saying on Twitter. I assume a lot of people went on and be like, oh my gosh, I bet Twitter's freaking out about Becky Lynch coming back. Let's see what they have to say. That fucking hashtag was just this was shitty. This was horrible.
Yeah.
Who decided to do this?
And also you could feel,
the crowd felt different.
Again, if I'm coming out for a number or if I'm coming out for a scene after something else just did not fall over well,
that's awkward.
I can feel it in the audience, and it sometimes it's hard to get that momentum going again.
Yeah.
So
also, it must have been crazy for the audience, people who fully expected and were banking on what if someone bought a ticket to SummerSlam to see this Sasha Banks Bianca Belair rematch? Yeah. What a fucking blow to that. That would suck.
Or even,
if they were I don't care about anything else. I want to watch this specific rematch.
I want to watch my favorite wrestler fight my other favorite wrestler and
that just plumb didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's just... It was crazy.
It was horrible.
Disappointing. I'm not going to hold it against Becky Lynch because, like I said before,
no.
She's not the one in the fucking writer's room being 16 seconds, I'm going to win this. And I kind of hope that come Friday they overturn it or something. I'm really holding out hope that Sonya Deville's that wasn't legal.
Because there was a contract signing between Sasha and...
There was a contract signing. I don't know. Because verbally they did say it, but I don't know.
And maybe going forward they're going to set up, Sasha versus Becky Lynch at Extreme Rules or something.
That would make sense.
But because Sasha was the one who signed for a title match.
Yeah.
But it
would still be shitty.
It's still shitty for Bianca, yeah. So I'm and of course we know it's entertainment and it's entertainment TV and
right. But it's still it has
real world repercussions.
In the audience that has repercussions. There are so many little children looking up to I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just shitty. And it's especially as a black woman to see that happen to a black woman is just
yeah.
So shitty because you see it in your life all the time. People who absolutely do not deserve things just getting them because of who they are.
Yeah.
And I really wish that hadn't have happened.
And there's also luckily, surprisingly, actually, didn't see as much of this as I thought I would. But there were those few morons online that are oh, you're pulling the race card, of course, had nothing to do with race. And I'm even if that is true, that is not what it looks like.
What I do I think that they were oh, let's do it because she's white and she's black? Absolutely not. That's never going to be, that's usually not anybody's intention. It's just those people, complete ignorance to the optics of the situation. Yeah. People who absolutely never have to deal with that situation. They never have to question if anything that happens in their life is based off of their race or not.
Yeah.
Of course they're not going to see it that way. But for people like me and you who have to live with that in the back of their head. Like, oh, did this happen to me because of this?
Yeah.
Or because of this? Like, that's always going to be how you view things. When you are living in a society that's so completely built on racism and white supremacy. Sorry, we're getting real deep in this.
Yeah, but
WWE.
it's real though.
But when you are like, it can't not be also a little bit about race, because again, the optics are horrible.
Yeah, and
there's no way around that.
I mean, I hope this is a major setback that sets up a major comeback, because
imagine having to be Bianca Belair, well, whatever her real name is, sorry. Just like being like told, oh, tomorrow you're going to lose your title in 16 seconds.
Because at that point, are they set, like, you really put Becky in a horrible position, unless fans just forgive it and go with it. But like, is she going to be a heel? Like, are they reintroducing her as a heel?
That's the other thing.
Like,
I don't know.
Because you said, like, Bianca Belair is naturally so likable.
Yeah.
And such like a natural baby face. That's kind of like of course they're the hero kind of term. That like, why do this? Because you can't set her up to be a heel. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
maybe that's what they were doing on SmackDown when she said that she's going to be like the nastiest, meanest. Yeah. Is that them flipping that EST to be something negative? I don't know. But as you say, like, she looks like a nice person, so it's hard to make that turn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A triple threat match would be pretty cool, though. Yeah. If they want to do it. I have a feeling that Friday they're going to use the officials to do some sort of rematch. Even if Becky Lynch doesn't lose the title, to have a rematch that lasts more than 30 fucking seconds, that shows like, oh, she genuinely deserves it. She like physically overpowered Bianca. It's clear to see that she is a better wrestler or whatever. That would, I would feel better. Yeah. If that were to happen. I don't think they can leave it as they left it right now. And yeah, I think even if it was supposed to be going in a different way, after everyone's reactions last night, I think they're going to try to course correct a little bit going forward. Yeah, because there's no way, there's absolute, based on the reveal and based on bringing her back in this way, I'm sticking to my guns. I fully think it was a reaction to CM Punk. And if that's the case, then there's no way that WWE is not making decisions based on what the crowd, and like, they're basically folding under fan service. Yeah. To an extent. But like, so I think if that's the case, they're going to see the reactions online, especially when you're trending number one nearly the entire night. Yeah. Like, and almost every time you're on TV, you're trending number one. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to see what people say. Yeah. So I'm just I'm interested to see what they're going to do from here. Yeah. And we'll get into a little more how this particular thing affected the rest of the night. Oh yeah. It was bizarre. So the next match after this horrible one was Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. Yeah. So it kind of sucks for them that they were the next match that came. There was no buffer after this one. Yeah. Maybe there should have been. Went right into it. Stick. You know what? I'm glad they didn't stick Rick Boogs in there, because then I would have been upset. Yeah. If they have stuck Moist TV or something, I don't know. People maybe would have gotten around a little quicker, but it was just kind of shitty. Because we were also kind of processing what had just happened, so we couldn't even give our full attention. I was on my phone like for half of this match. We couldn't even give our full attention to the match. But Veer and Shanky were banned from ringside, which ultimately, did that matter at all anyway? No, because Drew McIntyre is going to dominate. Anyway, I said Drew McIntyre whooped ass, of course. He always does. Yeah. I really like watching Drew McIntyre fight or wrestle. What is the correct terminology? You could use either. Okay. I like watching him fight Jinder Mahal because they're very similarly sized. They're both extremely massive in all ways. So I think that they're a really good match. And because of that, I wish that
would have been a little bit of a better match. Granted, I was distracted for, I would say, about half the match. But it just seemed like Jinder Mahal was kind of running a lot, and then the match just kind of ended the same way it has been on Raw the last few weeks. So it ends. The other two guys came out. Mm-hmm. Drew pulls out his sword, and that's that. Although he fucking swung the sword at him this time.
Yeah, he was trying to decapitate somebody.
It's like, yo, that's attempted murder, my dude.
Yeah, with a deadly weapon with Angela.
But I also like Drew McIntyre. I hope they kind of move him up on the card a little more. I know he can't challenge Bobby Lashley for the title right now, so it kind of puts him in a little bit of a shitty position.
But also, I think it's worth pointing out that I think Drew McIntyre was probably the last worthy opponent.
Jesus.
Compatriot. No, I think he was the last worthy opponent that
fought the Almighty.
Like, I agree. He was the only one that actually like damaged him. Yeah. Everyone else just gets absolutely obliterated.
Yeah.
But this also felt like a very short match.
Yeah.
I rewatched it again. I rewatched all of them today. But even when watching it today, I was like, yeah, that did feel short. Even though it wasn't one of the title matches, it still felt short. And they did have that end part where he was swinging his sword around and stuff. But it still felt...
And again, I think it was affected because I don't know... This is me. I don't read like wrestling rumors or anything like that. But so I have nothing to base this off of. But again, the Becky Lynch pop felt like it was written in that night.
Yeah.
The night of. And they because of that took a long time. Like, she was out there a long time. Granted, her match was only fucking 10 seconds.
Yeah, she walked out for
yeah.
And the whole setup of like Sasha's out, Carmella's in.
So like I felt like this match almost had to like they had to be like, okay, we got to end it real quick just to
fit it.
So time doesn't go over or whatever.
Yeah, we got to fit Moist TV in.
Yeah. God forbid they take that out. It wasn't even Moist TV. It was just them coming out for the dripstick. Anyway, yeah. So this is one I feel like was affected by the prior pop.
Yeah. Even the energy didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called when someone like comes out, a pop, or like
a
big
think the
pop
audience
of energy?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the terminology I've been seeing thrown around online a lot. And like the type of match it was called like a squash.
Yes, I saw that.
So anyway, but that leads into our next one as well. The Raw Women's Championship title match, which is a triple threat between our champion Nikki ASH, Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair. Yes. I was actually wrong about this one.
We were both wrong about this.
Yeah, we fully thought that Nikki ASH was going to have more of a reign as the champion, but I mean, the only one who can truly reign is the queen. Am I right?
So about halfway through this fight, I turned to John and I was like, I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
Like, I decided that I don't care who wins. I would like Nikki ASH to win just because she was, again, the underdog.
But not because you don't care about, like, the title or, like, the stars.
No, it's just I like them all almost equally.
Yeah.
I love to hate Charlotte Flair. She's a fantastic villain character.
Yeah.
I love Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. Nikki ASH is just, like, the most adorable little thing.
Yeah.
Running around in her superhero costume. I would have liked her reign to be a little bit longer, like you said, but I at the end of the day, it took me like being there, watching them all like compete against each other for me to be like, it's if either of them win, I will be happy.
Yeah. And granted, they got into it, I would say about halfway through the match, but especially at the beginning of the match, Charlotte Flair looked pissed.
Really?
I thought she looked, because remember,
more pissed than normal, because that's everyone.
At Money in the Bank, and even I think the following Raw, people kept chanting for Becky,
yeah.
And she like flipped off the audience and shit. Yeah. So like, I don't know how much of that was. I feel like she actually gets annoyed, But like again, it just felt like the energy was still kind of reeling.
Still off, yeah.
And so I don't know. Charlotte looked. I mean, it could just be her character, her heel thing that she does. But to me, she seemed a little more pissed than normal. But I would say about halfway through the match, they finally found their groove. And I liked the match. I thought it was pretty good. They never disappoint any of these folks. I do feel like we've seen some pretty epic matches, even on like Monday Night Raw from these stars. I don't think it quite got to that level, which was I wouldn't say the match was a disappointment, but they usually bring a different level of brutality, and I just think because there's
a lot going on,
probably backstage, I feel like But I mean, overall, I think it was a pretty decent match. I'm excited to see how Charlotte Flair is gonna gloat, because I mean she's won the last 2 pay-per-views as champ. So
I agree with you on all this stuff. There was this one move that Charlotte Flair did off the top rope.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like a crazy like
a corkscrew fucking
she landed
flip
directly on Nikki Ash.
Yeah.
But that was cool. It was something new. But yeah, I think it could have benefited from raising the bar just a little bit more, because like you said, it's hard when you're like consistently a very, very good performer.
Mm-hmm.
If you're performing super well on every Monday's Raw, it's hard to go up from there. Like if you're already full energy every time. So, like you said, it kind of felt reminiscent of a match that we would see on Raw, but that doesn't mean that it also wasn't a good match.
No, it was still a good match.
Yeah, they're consistently all 3 very, very good. And yeah, I'm interested to see what the storyline is going to be going forward. If it's going to be the same 3 people vying over this championship title over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough. At least, I don't know. I would say we see enough of Rhea Ripley going for it against Charlotte Flair, but I also love when Rhea Ripley fights Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I remember talking to you last night during the match, and I was like, I feel like these two actually like wrestling one another, only because I feel like they're good at matching each other's intensity.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, granted, her character's a pain in the ass, but I'm with you. Like, I really like Charlotte Flair as a heel. And like watching her wrestle, like the way she screams to the audience, like when she does something, it's like, man, this fucking woman knows how to put on a show. Like she's the real deal. And I feel like she can reach a certain level of intensity with Rhea Ripley, and it's not like she's just obliterating someone. Like her match with Nikki Ash, it was a good match, but also like Nikki kind of got her ass kicked. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that was the
Part
point. It is scripted, but yeah. So, I don't know. I do want to see. That was my one thing about Charlotte winning or losing. Really, is I'm like, okay, I kind of want to. I don't want that to be Charlotte's whole thing the entire time, and I feel like they've been doing that for a long time already. Yeah. So if she's going to be the champ, I'd like to see her be the champ for a little longer than just 24 hours. Yeah.
Well, we have no woman Money in the Bank winner, left. So
yeah. So I mean, maybe they'll bring back someone else who was gone for a while.
Maybe.
So I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. But overall, I think this is a pretty solid match. But again, we're still not completely reeled in from the moments before.
Yes, I think that the energy levels were off until this match, which is the Edge versus Seth Rollins match. So I think you mentioned that this was your favorite match of the night. Yeah. And upon rewatch, I think I have to agree with you, especially considering this was not a title match at all. Yeah. This match was insane. So we started off with Seth Rollins' normal intro. Yeah. And he walks out looking like a fucking matador. Looking like Sergeant Poppers.
Or whatever the hell you said.
As Pat
McAfee. So let's say this right here. You can quote us on this one. Oh. We need Pat McAfee at everything. At every pay-per-view.
He needs to be the color commentator of everything. Yeah. He's hilarious.
Yeah. he's just so good. And I love that there were signs strictly for Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
I think one said like it just said McAfee equals ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And they're not wrong. He's
bring
great.
him back.
Bring him back.
Continue to do that,
Keep
please.
him. I want him on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, I know. Poor guy.
I want him working all the time. So after Seth Rollins comes out into the ring, we get the dark flames and the Brood music.
So, and I mentioned to you before it happened, I was like, oh, it's the Brood music again. So I wonder if he'll be like old school Edge and have like his long like duster like trench coat thing with the sunglasses. And who do we see rising from the depths of hell, other than
old school Brood Edge?
Yeah,
in the fucking duster, trench coat, and sunglasses.
And I was like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah. So Edge did that like cool. It was just kind of a nod to that, I would say, because in the middle of his walk down, his new music played.
His normal music, I would say.
His normal music, yeah. And the lights went back and he like did his Edge freaking out when he's like, I want it, you know? So then the fight was just like super, because we haven't seen them fight recently, right? We've seen a lot of this.
And I actually really quite enjoy the storyline. This is an example of like them building up the storyline like naturally, like using something from a few years back and like building upon that to lead to this moment. Yeah, they'd never faced off one-on-one before, and just getting, I don't know, they match each other pretty well. Mm-hmm. Kind of like I was mentioning with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, in terms of just like intensity and like what they're willing to do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was, this is an example of the storyline helping the match, because it felt personal. Yeah.
And because they had that old beef, they were able to pull off of their old costumes and music and moves.
Yeah.
You mentioned Edge dusted off the Educator as one of his moves, and he also did the Executioner.
Yeah.
And he also did his wife Beth Phoenix's Glam Slam move.
Yeah.
So he pulled out some old school moves, which was really cool. You recognized one of them.
Yes.
In the moment, and the other one you didn't catch at first. But that must have been really cool for people who like, oh, I watched Edge when he was in the Brood Crew or whatever the fuck they were called in the 90s. The Brood. I like Brood Crew.
And the Seth Rollins pulled out an older move of his,
Falcon Arrow.
Yeah.
He tried to do a stomp multiple times, did not succeed.
But and this was one that you really, as the match went on, you really didn't know which way it was gonna go, because these dudes started fucking each other up. And then it was like finisher after finisher, or like crazy off the top rope, or running into this. Ed speared him through the ropes at one point.
And kick out after kick out after kick out.
Yeah, and it was really, really cool. Yeah, this was a match that, for me, just even sitting at home, like the energy came back. Like exactly. I was really invested in this one, more so than I thought like I was gonna be. I was excited for this match. This is probably one of the matches I was most excited for, but it definitely did not disappoint in the slightest. And yeah, it wasn't a title match. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, the title matches aren't necessarily always like the good. Ones. Yeah. I mean, I just think of, and obviously this is no dig at either superstar, but like you think of the Money in the Bank title match for the WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston. Oh, and we just watched, it was a fucking snuff film. We just watched Kofi Kingston get his ass whooped for 10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes. And so like it's not necessarily always like a big thing. And that one I feel like had been set up for, a few weeks, at least a month. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a good payoff. And also because they played off of something very, very real with Edge's neck. And the fact that Seth Rollins' move is like a stomp to the back of the head. Like, there was that very... I was afraid the whole time, as I often am. And I'm like, please don't break this man. Yeah. Like, he just came back. Please don't break this man. I'm very terrified. Yeah. Whenever, like, anyone older or has been previously injured does a big old fight. I don't like it. It scares
Right.
me. But that was like, yeah, that was a fantastic match. I always love to see Seth Rollins get his ass beat. Edge ended up winning the match after Seth Rollins tapped out like a bitch. But he did indeed get his head bashed in multiple times.
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, I would tap too. I get it.
Yeah, this was a really, really good match. Like I said, it was my favorite. Even just thinking about it again, it's definitely my favorite match of the entire event.
Yeah.
Bar none.
So next was Big Bad Lobby Bashley against Billy Goldberg.
Yeah, it was Bobby Lashley versus
Bobby
Goldberg.
v. Billy.
Bob and Bill. Two neighbors. Yeah, this is for the WWE Championship. And I said this would happen. Or at least I said I hoped it would happen. And it happened. We got the old school Goldberg intro.
Yes.
Where they're knocking on his locker room door. He was outside the
Very
the
clearly
arena.
an exterior door.
But it was okay. I didn't mind it.
I got the general idea of it.
Yeah, it was so it was cool to see that. Mm-hmm. Goldberg's still in pretty good shape. I was surprised because I had only seen him in like jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah. So this was like our introduction. Well, my introduction to him wrestling.
Yeah.
Live.
I totally thought he was going to be, and I mean, I obviously no judgment whatsoever. But I thought we were going to see like Dad Bod Goldberg, and I would have been okay with that too.
Oh, that's fine. There are a lot of people in the WWE currently with dad bods.
Yeah, Otis. That man's like a train.
Yeah.
He's like a bullet. A barrel.
Like a bullet.
I don't know. Anyway.
Like a bullet bullet bill. What's that thing in Mario? Oh, the big bullet.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
They go fast. That's what it looks like. Sorry, Otis. So yeah, Goldberg is indeed in good shape, but not good enough because he did indeed get injured after fucking MVP. Okay, so to be fair, upon rewatch, there's a little bit more to that match than I remembered.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like not that far in that he got injured, but it was after a fair amount of match.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a full match.
He got speared. He was Bobby Lashley got speared already.
Bobby Lashley did get speared, and his head got bashed into a post. But this is another one. It kind of felt weird and dipped the energy just a little bit. Nowhere near as bad as it was earlier.
Yeah.
But Goldberg getting injured mid-fight was like so bizarre. It felt like a waste of a comeback.
Yeah.
Because so his knee had gotten injured a little bit earlier, and then MVP whacked his cane against it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like where it ended. Well, Bobby Lashley continued to like focus on that knee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was, after a period of time, Goldberg couldn't stand anymore. And that's when the ref was like, this is over.
Right.
And then Bobby Lashley retains his title and wins, which is like, I assumed that was going to happen anyway. It just felt like such a bizarre thing to happen after such a big comeback where he hasn't fought anybody since he came back. I have dry throat. Keep talking.
No, I agree. Yeah, it felt weird to be like, oh, he came back and couldn't even do a full match.
Been talking hot shit for a month. Can't even do a full match.
Now, granted, so he gets, the match ends, match is called, and Bobby Lashley wins. I'm guessing MVP throws in a chair.
It was MVP.
He continues to wail on Goldberg for a while. Gage runs in and promptly gets murdered by Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, so Gage Goldberg is Goldberg's child's son.
Yeah.
Who was assassinated on screen yesterday by Bobby Lashley accidentally.
Yeah.
But there was, as MVP said, there was no way for Bobby Lashley to know that was Goldberg's son.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact that he was 80 pounds
could
have clued you into the fact that he was not a grown adult man.
What's funny is that, Gage he's what, like 15, 16?
15.
And he looks like the size of a normal teenager. But the size of a normal teenager on the back of Bobby Lashley. He looked like an infant.
It's like a tick on the back of a horse.
Yeah. So it was just insane to me. I'm like, God, this motherfucker is huge.
But also good for Gage for being part of it. I kind of thought that he would be involved somehow because why else would they introduce him and have him interact with them? But I didn't think he was gonna go defend his dad and jump on the back of someone as terrifying as Lobby Bash.
So now I'm wondering, okay, so Goldberg's gonna be out for a few months with this knee injury, but I'm guessing okay, that means we're setting up another rivalry between these two down the line. Whether or not Bobby Lashley's the champion or not, we're gonna see Goldberg come back and be like, "You did this to my son," blah 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 blah, and so at least there's that, and hopefully
everything's fine.
Hopefully the next match they have is a little bit better. Sorry, I have something in my throat now.
See, it's yeah, it's happening to me too. I think it's cat hair. Genuinely,
I don't think it's cat hair for me, bro.
It's cat hair.
Anyway,
but yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see the next time Goldberg comes out and he's like, "Oh, look what you did! Look how you massacred my son." And Gage is gonna be in a full fucking body cast.
Yeah. My son was out for months.
For months, he's a football player.
He couldn't go to school.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it felt weird, but I kind of like that. Like, it didn't feel like a dip that then took the next match to raise, but it kind of felt like a dip in the middle of their match. But then. Yeah. Especially with MVP at the end being like, there was no way to know. And then he's like, anyway, bye.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
I know some people are a little cautious of this older Goldberg. In the ring. I know some fan reaction online, they just think he's a little reckless in the ring now. The only thing that it didn't look reckless to me. The only thing that was a little worrisome was when he speared Bobby Lashley and Bobby hit the post with his head. Mm-hmm. But he seemed fine after that. So but so I hopefully and I think Bobby Lashley's a large enough man and shape enough man to
be okay with it.
Yeah, because I think the other fight people were talking about was Goldberg versus Undertaker, and I'm like, yeah, those dudes are both
older.
Yeah, so I can imagine it's a little more dangerous for them. But I mean, it was, at least in the beginning of the match, it was cool seeing Goldberg do his thing again, though. I think I mentioned when we were watching, I was like, man, I feel like a little kid again because I used to watch Goldberg when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was probably cool.
So that was pretty neat. But yeah, overall, it was okay. I think now we just got to find Bobby Lashley a good opponent.
See, that's the thing. It's
hard.
It's hard because he's so fucking dominant. Like, the only other person I can think of is Roman Reigns.
I still maintain I would like to see Big E come to Raw and challenge Bobby Lashley, and that gives him a way to rejoin the New Day. Yeah. So personally, that's what I would like to see.
It's possible.
But we'll just have to wait till Monday. Yeah,
this is one of those ones where I'm like, okay, I need to see what happens story wise from here, because it's like we could branch. Right. So yeah, but that was that match, and then finally, the main event of the night was Roman Reigns versus John Cena for the Universal Title Championship. Yes. Universal Championship title. That's how that is supposed to be spoken. So this was a super good match as well. This is my first time ever seeing John Cena wrestle live, like in real time. Right. So that was super cool. We got to see a lot of John Cena moves. Yeah. Like this guy, the five knuckle shuffle. Yeah.
The attitude adjustment used to be called FU.
I learned what those were. That was fun. Yeah. He has new merch. If you're interested in some 8-bit John Cena merch, he came out with new merch.
Oh yeah, I think Nintendo's gonna say something about that.
Nintendo's gonna sue him, and it's gonna add insult to injury because he lost this match as well.
Yeah, he did.
All he needed was 1, 2, 3, and he got nothing.
I was a little worried at the beginning of the match because it was just like John Cena going for the pin early. Yeah. And I was like, so for me, it had a little bit of a slow simmer at the beginning.
I think that's fair.
But once the match got going, like we saw some pretty awesome wrestling there. We got fucking Roman Reigns got got double A'd through the fucking announcer's table.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Again, this is another one. They were doing like finisher after finisher and like, you know, all these 2.5 counts.
Superman punch.
Yeah. And there was a couple moments where I'm like, oh shit, Roman Reigns might actually lose his title here.
So that was the thing that I was going to say. I did write down that Roman Reigns was dominant most of the time. And I think that is true. But there were still a few times where John Cena, like, I was genuinely very scared.
Right.
That Roman Reigns was going to lose his title and his career because they made that promise. Well, he vowed that if he lost, he wouldn't return to the WWE, which is insane.
Yeah.
So I was really, really worried. But yeah, I would say that Roman did dominate most of the match.
Yeah.
John Cena got some good licks in, but for the most part, it was
I loved all the shit that Roman Reigns was talking.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen him talk that much shit in the ring
Mid-match,
before during a match.
I think I'd have to agree.
Where he was like, but you know what? I liked it.
I like it.
Where he was at the camera, he's like, I'm sorry, Hollywood. I'm WWE. Like, you can have him back. Like, I was like, all right, this motherfucker's talking shit. All right.
Did he say, he's like, I have to whoop this man or something like that? Yeah, he's funny. It just plays more into that cocky asshole persona that, like, it makes him a good heel.
Yeah.
For him to talk shit in the middle of a match.
Absolutely.
That he's so clearly dominating in. What an asshole.
Yeah, so that was good. But yeah, I think they put on a hell of a show for a main event. And yeah, we did predict this one as well. I did think that Roman Reigns would indeed win, and I think that was always the plan. I do think we still have. I could be wrong. My math could be wrong. I'm pretty sure we have like another 4 or 5 weeks of the Summer of Cena.
Yeah, what was it, like 15 weeks that he was supposed to
So I think technically, I could be wrong. I think technically he could be there for one more pay-per-view. I don't know.
If it's 15 weeks, that's like 3.5 months?
Something like that.
That's not right, is it? 3.5? Anyway. But yeah, I think he might have one more pay-per-view in him.
Yeah.
So,
which would be cool.
But I don't know after what happens.
So after they're exchanging blows and Roman pins him 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You know, whose music do we hear? Because we just can't have one major comeback. To be fair, I think this one was planned. I do think this one was supposed to, was always meant to happen.
I agree.
But we hear the music of Brock Lesnar coming out looking goofy as hell with that fucking man bun or that ponytail.
It was the ponytail so bad. Just get rid of the ponytail.
Now, of course, it's all love for Brock Lesnar. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know this man.
I told you before that. Remember, I think I mentioned it on stream that I saw Brock Lesnar fight John Cena, and that was the WWE live event where he took my brother's sign and was showing it around. So that was really, really cool. So that's why it's all love for Brock Lesnar. I'm just goofing around here. Also, the man's huge. So if he's ever in Tampa,
if you see this,
you did it, champ.
Your hair's fine. We love the hair.
Yeah. No, but I mean, hey, that man is so big he can rock whatever hair he wants. I don't care.
Who's gonna tell him not to?
Yeah, exactly. So but it was a very big re-entry for him. But again, even this reveal was kind of like felt
reminiscent.
Yeah, like
because
it's
of exactly
always
what happened the last pay-per-view.
It's always Brock Lesnar, but yes, because it was the same exact thing. You know, Roman won, and then all of a sudden, a big name shows up.
Yeah.
At the end of the pay-per-view, but it's just like it's always Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar always comes back. So it's like Vince's go-to guy when he wants like a big return.
I was like, and then why is everyone always so excited?
Because it's like that for any wrestler that was like popular that's gone for months. The minute they come back, it's like huge.
Yeah.
So I get why people are excited. But at least what makes this interesting is that Roman beat Brock Lesnar for the title, and so it's kind of cool to it's like more of a natural rematch there. And also that Brock Lesnar was a Paul Heyman guy.
Right.
And now Paul Heyman's fucking having a heart attack.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But yeah, going back to John Cena though, like that was one of John Cena's first major rivalries in the WWE was with Brock Lesnar. So in his last few weeks before he takes off again, I'm wondering if they'll do like a little bit of a rivalry between Brock Lesnar and John Cena, which would be cool. Be cool to see. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so after the cameras stopped, Brock Lesnar decided to beat up on John Cena just for a little bit, just for a treat.
As a snack.
So this was like after the program ended. We only noticed it because people were posting videos like from the audience on Twitter afterwards. And I guess it was probably a cool treat for the people in the audience who bought tickets just to see them like fight again.
Yeah, but I wonder how much that will influence what happens on like SmackDown going forward.
Exactly. Is that going to be part of the story or did not happen canonically? Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for the story that they're going to try to tell. I even mentioned, is this a possible triple threat match? Yeah. Roman v. Cena v. fucking Lesnar?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and I still think that if Roman loses the title anytime soon, well, I mean, now that it's Brock Lesnar, he's also pretty popular, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was at the next pay-per-view. But I still think as a figure, as a heel, I think if Roman loses his title, it would be at something like a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I mean, anything's possible. So
I think he's on track to keep it for a year at least, because that's like 2 weeks next week or something that crosses over. So yeah, I don't know. That'll be interesting going forward, but I'm happy that Roman Reigns continues to reign.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, no, I was happy to see him win. I like him as the champ. I don't know why. I like even though they're both heels, Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns as the champs. I'm okay with. Right? And I do think Brock Lesnar is an interesting choice to battle Roman for it though, because I think he would be he'll probably stay longer than John Cena will.
Yeah.
So
we shall see.
We'll just have to see. But yeah, overall, SummerSlam was just it was a little disappointing, but I credit that to the WWE as well because I really, really enjoyed Money in the Bank. And even Hell in a Cell, that one was still in the Thunderdome. But like Money in the Bank, because it was their first like in-person like pay-per-view back. Yeah. Like there was a certain excitement in the air. And
it was probably like everyone's dialed up to 11 just for that one. So it's hard to top that. Yeah. Sorry. It's hard to top that, but especially when you put in poo-poo storylines, like it's not going to top it. So yeah, it felt weird. It felt like a strange pay-per-view. Definitely felt like a big dip in the middle. I almost wish they had waited and done that match like. Yeah, it couldn't have been last because it wasn't main event, but I wish it was last so I could have enjoyed the rest of it.
Yeah, it was just such a disappointment that middle, like you mentioned. And unfortunately, I think other matches suffered because of it. Whether it was, I mean, it was no fault of any of the talent there. It was just, that's a huge moment for people to process, and you expect them to focus on other matches. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just, I think in large part, execution left a lot to be desired. But yes. But
I'm also interested to see like how they're gonna twist it and whatever as the weeks go on. Is there going to be some sort of damage control course correction happening for a couple of these storylines? We'll just have to watch to find out. That's the thing with wrestling that I have noticed in the past 3 months. Anything can happen and almost everything can be rewritten to pivot the story.
Yeah, to accommodate what needs to happen. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, so that was fucking SummerSlam this year. I would love to know down in the comments what your guys' thoughts were. Yes. What did you think of Becky Lynch's return? Was it fantastic and everything you hoped for, or was it did it leave a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth just because of the circumstances in which she came back? What did you think of Brock Lesnar returning? Was it perhaps one too many comebacks? Because that's what I thought.
Yeah. And what was your favorite match of the night, if you had one?
Exactly. Because ours was Edge versus Seth Rollins for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you think Randy Orton's going to get his own scooter? These are important questions.
Yeah. So you got to leave them in the comments.
We want to know the answer. We need to know the answers. But yeah, I think that's it for us today, though. Yeah. What a hell of a weekend.
Yeah. Like I said, like we mentioned, there was a lot to talk about. We had a lot of feelings we had to process. This was one that, as soon as it ended, we're like, I think we have to get on stream again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're not already, please follow us on all the various social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and right here on Twitch. Mm-hmm. Probably most active on Instagram, and I try to be on TikTok as much as I can. So definitely follow those. And all of our streams, I mean, follow all of them, but anyway. All of our streams typically wind up on YouTube. Kendra has a series called Operation Quarterback that she's doing. She's playing a game called Operation Quarterback, and those are being released almost weekly.
Yes.
I think there's been we were on vacation this week, so that's why there was no episode or stream this week on that. But you can catch up on the previous, what are we at? Chapter
12.
Yeah, so the past 12 episodes are already up, so you don't have to wait for those. Yeah. You can check out some of our shallow dips and deep dives, as well as our solo reviews for various movies and shows and things.
And also, if you want to catch a pre-per-view, we did one for Money in the Bank, and our pre-per-view that we did yesterday for SummerSlam are both on our YouTube channel. So you can go watch how wrong we were.
Well,
and
how right I was.
Well, yeah, how right John was sometimes. But also, like, you can see the hope that was still in our eyes.
Yeah. And how now we're seasoned and just grizzled.
Yeah. Grizzly. All right. Gritty.
Oh, God. All right, well, on that note, I think we're going to head out.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you next time.
Peace.
Bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, feel free to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. See you next time.